Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to dive into something really cool, a new framework called the red dot healing theory. It's this incredible bridge between ancient Buddhist psychology and modern neuroscience, and it gives us this powerful new way to understand trauma, presence, and what it really means to heal.
Okay, so let's jump right in by looking at the core problem this theory is trying to solve. And it's something that, honestly, most of us have probably felt, even if we couldn't put a name to it. It all comes down to our relationship with time.
Just think about it for a second. Does your mind ever just get stuck, constantly being pulled back into stuff that already happened, or getting launched forward into worries about what might happen next?
Yeah, this is exactly what's being called the fractured present. Our attention gets totally hijacked by the past. We're stuck on regret, or we're reliving something painful, or it's lost in the future, all tangled up in anxiety and just wanting. And what happens? Well, the now, the present moment, it just kind of collapses. It feels empty or like we're not even really there.
Now, what's really fascinating is that there's actually a term for this: temporal dislocation. It's the mind's inability to simply be here, to land in the now. And when we're talking about trauma, this isn't just about being distracted. It's described as a deep, structural break in our experience of life itself. And get this, modern psychology is saying the exact same thing. The famous psychiatrist Bessel van der Kolk says that trauma isn't just an emotional wound. He calls it a fundamental break in the continuity of time. The past never gets filed away as over, so the body and mind are stuck on high alert, acting like the threat is still happening right now.
You know, the wild thing is, this whole idea of being broken in time, it's not new at all. It's a core human problem that people have been talking about for centuries. They just used a totally different language to describe it. And it's pretty amazing, right? You've got these two totally different traditions, modern neuroscience on one hand, and the ancient Buddhist Abhidhamma, which is like this incredibly detailed map of the mind, on the other. And they're both pointing to the exact same problem, a mind that has lost its way home to the present moment.
This slide really lays it out perfectly. On one hand, modern psychology talks about a dysregulated nervous system, hyperarousal, dissociation, anxiety. On the other hand, the Abhidhamma talks about something called akusala chittas, these unwholesome states of mind that are all about craving and aversion. But look closer. At the end of the day, they're both describing the same thing, a consciousness that's scattered, unstable, and just can't rest in the now.
Okay, so if that's the problem, this fractured, scattered mind, then what's the solution, right? Well, this is where we get to the heart of this new, really powerful way of thinking about healing.
It's called the red dot healing theory. And it's not just another idea, it's the bridge that actually connects these two worlds. It doesn't just point out the problem of temporal dislocation, it gives us a real practical path back to feeling whole again.
So the red dot, this is the key metaphor, but here's what's super important. It's not something you're supposed to see or visualize. It's something you're meant to feel. It's that experiential point of perfect balance, of centered stillness, where your mind finally lands in your body, right here, right now. It really is a homecoming.
I mean, just listen to this quote. It captures the feeling perfectly. What does that mean? It's that moment of profound integration where your nervous system finally feels safe, your mind feels settled, and that awful feeling of being fractured in time just dissolves.
All right, so this sounds great, but how do we actually find this red dot? How do we get there? Well, the cool thing about this theory is that it's not about brute force or trying to push anything. It's all about finding a very specific kind of inner balance.
The path, according to this ancient wisdom, is all about harmonizing what are called the 5 spiritual faculties. And you can really think of them like dials on a soundboard that we can learn to tune. There's faith, which is more like trust, energy or effort, mindfulness, our awareness of right now, concentration, our ability to stay steady, and wisdom, our sense of clarity.
Now, all 5 of these are super important, but the ancient texts point to one as the master control knob: mindfulness. It's the key that keeps all the others in a healthy balance. For instance, too much energy without mindfulness just becomes restlessness. Too much faith without wisdom can turn into gullibility. Mindfulness is the one that holds the whole system together in this dynamic, healthy equilibrium. Okay, now we're getting to what I think is the most mind-blowing part of this whole theory. This is where the ancient world and modern science just click together perfectly. It's absolutely fascinating.
So on one side, you've got Buddhism talking about balanced inner faculties. On the other, you've got neuroscience talking about an integrated and coherent brain. And what this theory argues is they're not just similar, they're describing the exact same state.
And this chart, wow, this just lays it all out. When they talk about faith, that's not some vague belief. It's the neurobiological feeling of safety you get when your body's rest and digest system kicks in. When they talk about energy, that's literally your brain's dopamine-driven motivation system firing up. Mindfulness is the brain's ability to feel the body from the inside. Concentration is your brain's attention networks all firing together in sync. And wisdom, that's your prefrontal cortex, your thinking brain, calming down your emotional freakouts so you can see things clearly.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's that this ancient path to well-being, it's basically a roadmap for creating a healthy, integrated brain. A balanced mind, from the perspective of the red dot theory, is a neurologically coherent and integrated brain. They're two sides of the same coin.
So let's bring this all home. What does this all mean for us? What's the real point of the red dot healing theory when it comes to finding our way back to ourselves?
See, what this tells us is that healing isn't about fighting with your past or trying to force some perfect future. It's actually way more simple and way more profound. It is simply restoring our natural ability to be fully here. It's putting time back together again, not by thinking about it, but by feeling it, by bringing our mind home to our body in this one moment.
And this final quote just says it all, doesn't it? When our experience of time isn't fractured anymore, suffering gets quieter. That red dot, that feeling of balance, it's not some finish line you have to cross. It's the very heartbeat of being alive, and it's available right here in every single breath.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. For you, in your own life, with all the ways your mind loves to travel to the past and the future, what would it actually feel like to bring your time back together and to find that quiet, balanced center right here, right now?